Welcome back. So, in the previous video, we have seen why we need cybersecurity, and we have seen that about the cyber attacks that are happening. So that's the reason we need cybersecurity, and why these cyber attacks are happening. Basically, the reason is because of the vulnerabilities these cyber attacks are happening, and what we are protecting. So we're protecting the data at the end. Okay, so these are the things that we have seen so far. Now, the next thing, what and very important thing is, what is cyber security? Okay, so I know, like, if I ask you this question, you might say cyber security is protecting data, these that, from hackers, attackers, and all. So from here on, whenever anyone asks you what is cyber security, your answer should be, okay. This is the professional answer, and this is the this is the right answer generally to what is cyber security. And the answer is, cyber security refers to protecting the CIA of a data. Now, what is the CIA? CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so we are protecting the data, and what we are protecting the data from? We are protecting the data from confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is called as CIA triad. Okay, the three pillars of cybersecurity, very, very, very important from your career point of view, especially when you're taking when you are getting into an interview. If someone, when they ask you, and definitely this would be a question, what is cyber security, they might also ask what is the difference with cyber security and information security. So let me clear that as well right away. When you're talking about information security, we speak about protecting data at in any form. Okay, it could be data in a physical form, or data in a digital form. Okay, both the data in both the forms we are protecting, that is information security. And when we are talking about cyber security, it's protecting the data that is in digital form only. Okay, here the focus is not on the on the offline data, that is on paper data that we have. And in cybersecurity, lot of devices are there that we cover when we're talking about cybersecurity. It's about the cyberspace where IoT comes into picture, your pen drive, and all these cyber where the data exists is considered. However, when you're talking about information security means protecting data that can be in any form. Okay, so nowadays, if you see, many of the companies are using the term cyber security because it's all digitalized now. Hardly very few companies go with the offline thing, even if they have an offline thing, like for example, banks, your receipt and all that, you go and you fill to the bank the check and all that is then later on converted into digital form. Okay, so that's the reason we have cyber security and not information security. So I hope that part is clear. The definition for information security and cyber security stands the same, that is protecting the CIA of a data, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability of a data. uh, in the last session that you have watched, we have discussed that what happens with the data breach or cyber attack, and we discussed, data is stolen and then sold, data is been accessed and modified, and data is made unavailable. I was referring to CIA. When I was telling you this, I was referring to CIA. The first one, data is stolen and then sold, it means the confidentiality is affected. The second one, it means integrity is affected, and the third one means availability is affected. Okay, so let's understand each of these three things. Remember, very, very important, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. Please do not forget this at all. Okay, this is very important. And never tell anyone all those blah 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 long things about explaining about cybersecurity. Keep it very simple. Protecting CIA of a data is cybersecurity. Okay, so let's understand what is confidentiality first. Confidentiality means only authorized users should have access to the data. That is confidentiality. Okay, only authorized user should have access to the data. This is what confidentiality means. Now, who is the authorized user here? Who is the authorized user? The authorized user means there are two things here. One is to whom the data belongs to. Okay, that is data owner. Okay, now in your case you have a, uh, you know, maybe you have your Aadhaar card. Okay, so Aadhaar card is your Aadhaar number, your Aadhaar system, or the Aadhaar details. This belongs to you. Okay, so you become the data owner. All right. The second thing is data custodian, which means to whom the data owner has given permission to have the access to your data. For example, you go to a bank, and you to open a bank you need to provide them your Aadhaar card, right? So you are giving them your data. So you are the data owner and you are giving that data to a third party, that is a bank. So that bank becomes the data custodian. Okay. So confidentiality basically means ensuring that only authorized users are having the access to it. Okay. um, I'll try to explain this more better in an scenario based example. The example that I just used, I'll use that same one, that is banking information. Okay, so you go to a bank. Let's consider that bank to be ICICI Bank. Okay, you go to bank to open an account. Okay, you go there, you tell that you want to open an account. So in order for you to open an account, you have to provide them certain data of yours. What is that? Your Aadhaar card you have to provide, PAN card, some address proof, maybe your signature you give them. Okay, your photograph you give them, right? Your parents details maybe you give them. So these are some of the information that you provide, and these are all sensitive information. Please understand that. Okay, so we're talking about every data has a value. We have already discussed that. And all these information data that you will be giving, your email ID, your phone number, your name, your age, all these are sensitive information. Okay, so now your data you have given that to ICICI Bank. In this case, ICICI Bank becomes the custodian and you become the data owner. Now, what is the job of a bank? What is the work of a bank? Very simple, I'll put it. The primary job of a bank is to take money, to give money. That's it. Okay. By giving money, by lending money, they charge interest. By taking money, they give interest. Okay. So this is what bank does. Now, bank is not into the technology and all, right? So now in digital world today, we have everything going online, right? All the transactions are becoming online. So ICICI Bank has a need to have an online application, on an app, web application, mobile application, and manage the data and everything. So ICICI Bank is not doing that work, right? Their job is to just take money and give money. Okay, because there is a need now, they have to develop a web application. So what they'll do, they'll go to a third party. They'll outsource it. This is called as outsourcing. Okay, and this comes in the third party risk management, which will be covered for you in your training. Okay, so before when a company gives a data to a third party, or when they engage with third party, you have to do certain tests or audits on them. Okay, so that is called as third party risk management, or vendor risk management also. And anyways, that will be covered to you in the session. Coming back to our topic here, now ICICI Bank will outsource it. Let's consider that outsourcing is done to Wipro, because Wipro is a service based company. Wipro, TCS, Infosys, they are service based companies, and all that they have is employees. Okay, Infosys, Wipro, they have employees, they have resource with them. They take project, the resources will do the work, okay, and give it back. So this is how it works. Now ICICI Bank has gone to Wipro and said, boss, please develop a web application, please develop a mobile application for us and manage everything, and they will outsource it to Wipro. All right, now Wipro will develop the application, no doubt in that they have developed. When they are developing the application, they definitely need to, or when they are managing the application, to manage the application, they definitely need access to your data, right? So ICICI Bank will become the owner here, and Wipro will become the custodian. So your data is now with Wipro. Okay, now Wipro has developed it completely fine, no problem. Wipro has developed. Now they have to manage that also, right? They have to host that also. Okay, because ICICI Bank has given complete responsibility to Wipro. Now Wipro does not have any. Wipro is not a hosting company. Neither they have any hosting thing. As I said, they only have employees and they develop, they code, okay, and they manage. Hosting needs to be done. They can also manage. However, they will further outsource this thing for a hosting company like AWS. Okay, Amazon Web Services. As you know, AWS is the player in hosting. Okay, now your data from Wipro company, it has gone to where Wipro becomes the owner, has gone to now AWS, who becomes the data custodian. Okay, now AWS, it's a company, hosting company. To host, they need hardware, they need servers. They don't manufacture the servers, so Wipro will take the servers from maybe HP, Dell, or Lenovo. Okay, now your data is residing on a HP company developed hardware system. Okay, so let's not go take it long again. There's lot more to put here. Your data from bank to Wipro to AWS, this is just one, not even 1.5% of it. Okay, your data goes beyond these things. All right, lot of third parties and vendors will have access to your data. So let's close it with the employees of AWS only. Okay, so in that case, the employees becomes the data custodian. So here, if anything happens, let's assume that AWS faces a cyber attack. Okay, because they are not implemented controls properly. We have discussed that also in the previous session, implementing controls, to overcome vulnerability. So if AWS faces an attack, then at the end you will be facing the consequences. Definitely ICICI Bank and Wipro, everyone will be affected. However, the main effect will be on you, because it's your data and it is affected, if someone has stolen it, right? So this is about confidentiality part. The second thing is integrity. What is integrity? Integrity means very simple: data should be as is. Okay, no modification should happen. This is called as integrity. All right, now in order to protect the confidentiality, we have the concept of cryptography. If you know cryptography, it's good. Otherwise, in the next sessions, third or fourth session, you will get to know about cryptography, okay, better. So to protect confidentiality, we have cryptography. To protect integrity, we have something called as hashing. Hashing is again covered in the next sessions that will be provided for you. So integrity, very simple: data should be hashes, no modification should happen. To further understand integrity, I always give the example of the scene from Three Idiots. Okay, where you see Amir Khan changes the few two words when when Chatur has to take a speech, and first of all, confidentiality gets compromised because he gets access to his speech there, and then he changes the certain words, two words are changed, and integrity is compromised. Okay, so this is integrity. Another life example is what we already discussed, Stuxnet, because I told you in Stuxnet it changed the value, changed the speed of the fan. Okay, so the value was changed, integrity was affected here. That's integrity for you. The third thing is availability. Availability, very simple. Data should be available whenever the authorized user requires it. Okay, not everyone. Authorized user requires it. Like, let's consider that you have gone for a long drive, for a trip. You're taking your car, and in today's world, no one actually keeps hard copy of the car document. So you are somewhere at a different place, and cops stop you. You are very confident that, and cops will ask you for the document, so you are very confident that you have all the documents. And also you open your phone, you don't want to have a hard copy. You open your phone, you have kept all your documents on Google Drive. Okay, now you are able to open Google Drive, you have full internet connection, Google Drive is opening, you are able to see that image also, RC, insurance and pollution test, all the documents are able to see there, the icons. When you try to open it, it's not opening. Okay, you're trying to open, but it's not opening at all. So it means the data is not available to you. Okay, so as a cloud provider, Google Drive as a cloud provider, they have to ensure that the authorized users gets access to it whenever it is required, and they have to be running and up 24 by 7. Okay, that's one of the challenge about cloud computing or cloud services. Availability is a very important factor for them. So that's about availability. Someone deletes the data or removes the data, it will affect the availability of the data. All right, so this is about CIA: confidentiality, integrity and availability. Next, in the next slide, we will try to understand how cybersecurity works in an organization. Okay, in a nutshell, what actually happens in every organizations, how this cybersecurity works. This is what we are going to understand. So there are two things that every organization or companies has to follow. One is data. Okay, when I say about data, there are different types of data. Okay, so we have PII, or personally identifiable data, which is your name, your Aadhaar number, your PAN number, your ration card number, passport number, so on. This bank data. Okay, we have health data. Okay, business data. So these are the types of data, categorized types of data. All right, this is one thing. The second thing companies have to follow is infrastructure. Okay, so when I talk about infrastructure, it means websites, applications, controlling devices. Okay, now like for example, Flipkart runs complete depend is completely dependent on their infrastructure, that is their website. They don't have a shop, they don't have a showroom or a shop. They have a website. Okay, they have an application. Now they have to ensure that the website is safe, the website is available, the availability factor is there. Integrity is protected, in the website, like no one changes the value of any product. Okay, so this attack is called as parameter tampering, where you can change the value of any product, the price value you can change, and you can order the product. This will be taught to you in the technical training that we will be providing for you, which is called as parameter tampering attack. Coming back, Flipkart, Zoomcar, Dunzo, and so many we have today, which are dependent on the infrastructure. That's about the infrastructure. And controlling devices means, in today's manufacturing unit, like in the case of our Stuxnet malware in the Iran nuclear power plant, you might have seen that everything was controlled digitally using the technology. There are machines where you feed in, like in automobile industry maybe, or in pharmaceutical industry. Everything is being fed in the computer in a system, and then it will control the machines and everything, what amount of things should become, and how much time this should run, and everything is controlled by the technology. So that is called as controlling devices here. Okay, like pharmaceutical industry, tablets are being manufactured. Okay, some Chinese attackers hack into the pharmaceutical company, and they make some modifications. Okay, no one will come to know, and the tablets that are manufactured, as you know, even some a bit of dose is increased, and it will have a huge impact on human. Okay, so if something like that happens, then entire humanity, whoever takes the tablets, they are gone. It's very easy. right? So that is what is controlling devices that we have to protect. See, at the end it is data only, okay, so don't get confused. At the end we are protecting the data only here, but this is just to make sure that you get a proper understanding. I have divided it in data and infrastructure. Okay, now how do we protect the data and infrastructure? Because this is about technology, and as I said, technology has a glitch which is called as vulnerability. Okay, so to protect these things we need something what we call as controls. Okay, we have already discussed about controls. Okay, so there is a vulnerability, and to remediate the vulnerability you implement a control. Okay, or in order to protect something you implement control. So example of control includes your antivirus. It's a control to protect from malware, firewall, password, okay, cryptography from confidentiality, checksum or hashing, load balancers for availability. So these are some of the examples of controls. So when you're in cybersecurity, your entire life will be depending on the controls only. Okay, so you have to try, you need to try to find the controls. Like for example, there is no lock in the door. Okay, that there is a vulnerability. So how will you overcome it? You will implement a control. The control is you will put a lock to it. Okay, so there are a lot of controls. Like you have a smartphone, you might be watching this video right now using in your smartphone maybe, or if you're watching it in your system, you might definitely have a mobile phone with you, right? Your smartphone with you. So your smartphone has a back cover. Your smartphone might have a screen guard to it, right? That's the first thing you buy. Why? It's a control to protect your smartphone from physical damage. Okay, because if your phone falls and physical damage happens, your entire phone is gone, data is gone, and you have to buy a new phone, financial loss. Okay, so that's one example. Another example is you have enabled password for it, right? You have put password for your phone. Okay, that is another control. So logical control. Okay, some of you might have seen, your friends or someone you might have seen, classmates and all that, they have multiple passwords. Okay, at a home also, if you have siblings, some of your siblings, cousins, you might have seen, they have multiple passwords, like one for Instagram, one for WhatsApp, one for gallery. They put screen lock or passwords everywhere. Why? Because there is something there is some sensitive data inside WhatsApp. Maybe your girlfriends or boyfriends chat you have, on Instagram, again the same. In the gallery you might have photos, right? So because there is something very sensitive which you do not want anyone else to see it, watch it or view it, you have put different layers of controls to your phone. Okay, so this is about controls. And as a vulnerability assessor, as a technical vulnerability assessor, you try to find what controls they have implemented. If there are no controls, you try to get in. Okay, so that's how cybersecurity works. There's a vulnerability. To remediate the vulnerability, you implement controls. Okay, so talking about the controls, there are three types of controls: preventive control, detective control, and corrective control. Again, very important from career point of view. Okay, so please understand, whatever training that we are providing, everything is important from career point of view. We, as I said, we are not going to teach you hacking Facebook and all, because that's none of your none interviewer will never ask that. All right, so if you mention about controls in your resume, there are chances of you getting a job soon. Like you have to mention about CIA in the knowledge part. Okay, so we will tell you how to make your resume. Also, we will help you in building your resume, because that is very important nowadays. Students, candidates do not have a good resume at all, and 90% of the time they don't get selected because their resume is not good. And that too in today's world, where companies are using automated tools. Even we use automated tools to get a ranking of a resume. Okay, so there are certain keywords that we look for. All right. So we will teach you how to build your resume, and how to approach a company. We will also approach on behalf of you, and we will guide you also how you can approach, so that you being you are being atmanirbhar there, basically, right? You're being self dependent on that. Okay, we will also try from our end, and you also will also make you ready for that. So three types of controls: preventive control, detective control, and corrective control. Let's see what it is. Preventive controls. um Example of preventive controls are firewall. Okay, preventive means it prevents. So firewall prevents. Okay, what's a firewall? Firewall is like a security guard. Okay, just like how a security guard knows who should go in and who should go out, firewall knows what should go in and what should not go out. Okay, that's what firewall does. Very simple. Example of preventive control. Next is security guard. Again, security guard prevents someone from getting in, an unauthorized person to get in. Antivirus prevents a malware or a virus. A lock prevents someone to get in. Access control, again, it's a logical thing here, about giving about access. IPS, which stands for intrusion prevention system, it's a device. We will cover this in the network security part when we're teaching you network security about IPS, IDS, how firewall works and all. So this is about preventive controls, okay, which prevents. Second is detective controls, which detects, like CCTV camera. It detects. IDS, intrusion detection system, detects. Alarm detects. Antivirus, it detects and it prevents. Both it does. Okay. Auditing, like IT audit we have, which will be covered for you in the training. Okay, so auditing is a part of detective controls, where you try to identify the issues. Okay, the third one is corrective controls. Corrective controls means which corrects back, like we have backup. Okay, so you have lost your data and now you need the data, you take a backup and keep. Backup is a corrective control. If you have backup, you will get your data back. If you don't have backup, you lose your data. You cannot correct the issue that has happened. Okay, so sprinklers, we have updates like patch update, very important. If your system is not patch updated, or antivirus update, or software update, so every software gets a new update, right? It is one of the reason why they update is to fix the bugs that they identify. Okay, so it's very important that you keep your software up to date. All right, so this is about corrective controls. There are three things. So there are lot of controls. Okay, in cybersecurity there are like lakhs and lakhs of controls. Okay, now what happens with the company is that whenever a company wants to secure themselves, they have to have certain controls in place. If they don't have a control, then they are not secure. Just like your house, if you see, your house has a door, it has a lock to it. Some people's house has two doors, one wooden door, and then they have a steel door also. Two factor, double layer of security. Additional controls you have implemented for your smartphone, as I said, for your laptop, as I said. So controls, there are a lot of controls. Every organization has to ensure that they implement controls. Now when I say there are lakhs and lakhs of controls, how will a organization come to know what controls they have to implement and how they have to implement? For that, very important, standards and regulations play a very important role. Okay, so there are a lot of cybersecurity based standards, like we have ISO 27001, PCI DSS, which stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, RBI Cybersecurity Framework, NIST Cybersecurity, GDPR, Data Protection, HIPAA, IT Act 2000. These are some of the standards that are there in in the cybersecurity domain. Now first let's understand what are these standards, and why it is required, and what is the importance of standards. Very important concept. Okay, so to understand standards better, I would like to ask you a question. The question is, as a bike rider, what helmet would you prefer? Would you prefer to wear an ISI certified helmet, or a non ISI certified helmet? What would you prefer? Okay, I'm damn sure the answer that went through your mind is ISI certified helmet. Now, why ISI certified helmet? Why would you choose ISI certified helmet over non ISI certified helmet? Because the reason is you would have a trust on it. Looking at the standard, you would have a trust on it. Now, how do you gain trust? If it is certified by ISI, ISI is a certification body. Okay, it means that this particular helmet has been manufactured keeping or ensuring certain things in place, like what type of material should be used, how it should be developed. It is been tested also, quality assured also. Okay, it is tested as well. Okay, so you get a trust from these certified authorities. When someone is certified, okay, you get a trust, right? So this is the importance of certifications in cybersecurity, or standards in cybersecurity, which helps organization to ensure that certain things are in place. Okay, so coming back to our standards part, there is ISO 27001 2013. This standard has about 114 controls defined. Okay, and any organization who deal with data, any type of data, they uh, you know they can get ISO certified. Okay, so it could be any of the organization. It gives them a level of security, and it also gives a trust on their customers or clients. All right. Second standard is PCI DSS, which stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. It's a standard which every organization who store or process card data, payment card data could be your debit card, credit card, and today there are a lot of other cards as well, like Amex card we have. There are a lot of payment cards that you get, apart from the credit card and debit card. So every organization has to follow the PCI DSS standard. And if you look at the moment, if you are having Paytm, okay, or if you are having this phone pay application, just open it, and the moment you open Paytm, in the below you can see PCI DSS certified. The moment you open phone pay, you can see ISO 27001 2013 certified and PCI DSS certified. Okay, so they are certified. So whenever someone asks me, when I take awareness sessions and all, when someone asks me, and this is a common question which people ask me, can we trust Paytm, can we trust Google Pay, these application, or Phone Pay? The answer that I give to them is the same thing, with the question that I asked you: would you prefer a ISI certified helmet or non ISI certified helmet? I would tell them, asking the same question, that Paytm is PCI DSS certified and we can trust them. We can't say that they're 100% secure, but we can trust them. Just like how wearing a ISI certified helmet doesn't mean that you will be completely safe. Okay, we can't have that surety, right? But it's a feel of trust that we will have. That's it, nothing more. The same way, using these applications, they can be trusted because they are certified. So next is RBI cybersecurity framework. RBI has their own cybersecurity framework for all the banks that are under RBI. You have the NIST cybersecurity framework. There is GDPR. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation Act. It's an act, okay, by the European country. Now, recent days you might have seen that every website in recent days is having that I accept, allow cookies, or I accept, or I agree part, which was not there some 2 years back. Okay, 2 years back it was not there. Now it has become a lot, right? So it is actually a part of GDPR, because GDPR is an regulation that ensures that the data of European citizens is safe and it is protected with certain controls or certain measures. Okay, so one of the clause which GDPR says is that if you are collecting data of European citizen, you have to take their consent. So considering this clause of the regulation, every websites nowadays have implemented the I agree part. So by clicking on I agree, you are giving them the permission, you are giving them the consent to collect your data. What type of data? By default, every website that you visit will have access to your phone details, what phone you're using, your IP address, your location details, what operating system you're using, which version of operating system you're having, then what browser you're using, what network you're using. All this data by default a website will collect, and they will ask permission, and with permission they are collecting. Okay, so same way India is going to also have a regulation which is called as Data Protection Act. They might name it differently. It should have come by now, but due to the COVID and all, things have got delayed. Data Protection Act, when it comes, it will be just like GDPR. GDPR is for European, data protection will be for Indian citizens. It will bring a lot boom to cyber security. Okay, when data protection will come, it will have and definitely it is going to come. The discussion is already there. Let me share with you a small incident or issue that they are facing. So they came up with a clause which said that none of the companies can take the data of Indian citizens outside of the country. Okay, so when they came up with this clause as a draft, companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, they came out and they said that, boss, if you come up with this clause, if you implement this clause, then no, we cannot take our data outside of India. Okay, for that we'll have to either set up our own data centers in India. Okay, so in order for us to set up data centers in India, we need money, we need land, and we need your support. So give us that, is what these companies said. And it is not that easy to manage all these things, and that's why there's a discussion that is going on now. So once we have Data Protection Act, there will be a lot of changes. There will be a sense of security that we can feel with respect to our protecting our data. And we have the next standard called as HIPAA, which stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. HIPAA is a US based regulation for protecting the medical records or health records of US citizens. Okay, every hospitals in US have to follow HIPAA. Okay, they have to follow certain controls. HIPAA has a lot of controls defined, majorly divided into three things. Okay, so HIPAA is what every hospitals in US have to follow. Now we would want something like this, like HIPAA for our country also, because if you see, we have lot of hospitals, and every hospitals today use a technology, they use a system to store data and all. And 90% or 95% of the hospitals are not safe, they are highly vulnerable. Okay, they're highly vulnerable, and it is very easy for Chinese people to hack into a hospital, steal the data. Okay, medical records they can steal, they can understand the medical behavior of Indian citizens, and maybe they can create another COVID kind of virus that would affect Indian citizens specifically. Okay, because every human beings at every country have their own medical characteristic, right? So they might come up with something else. So we have to protect the medical records, the medical history, medical data of Indian citizens as well, or else it would have a huge negative impact in future. Okay, so hospitals need cyber security. Then we have IT Act 2000. IT Act 2000 again has certain controls which they have defined. We will cover IT Act, we will teach HIPAA for you. We will teach PCI DSS for you. We will teach ISO 27000 for you. Okay. In the training, we are going to teach you these standards, and I can challenge you, I can bet you, you will not get to learn these things anywhere else. Like the type of curriculum that we have designed, okay, we will discuss on that also. I can guarantee you, no one will, there's no one who will teach you about these standards, and they are very important. As a fresher, if you know standards, if you know about ISO 27001, it's a very great thing. Okay, we are going to teach you lot more things there. Okay, anyways, going forward, all these standards, all these standards at a high level, what they tell is, they tell you about controls. Okay, like how to secure the network, they'll tell implement firewall, they will tell implement antivirus, put an IDS, IPS. They will not tell which firewall, they'll not tell to use Sonic firewall or Cisco firewall. No, they'll generally tell use a firewall, and make sure the firewall does at a minimum these work. Okay, so we'll discuss about this when we are taking the session on ISO and PCI and all. How to secure the system, like block the USB, lock the system, take backup, how to secure the data, do encryption, follow cryptography, have access control in place, take backup of the data. With respect to physical security, which is a domain, physical security is also a domain of cyber security. Okay, so implement CCTV camera, have an alarm, implement a security guard. So you might see that every or most of the ATMs have a security guard and an CCTV camera. Why do they have that? They have it because it's a requirement, because RBI tells that every ATM there should be a security guard outside every ATM. That's the reason they are having, otherwise they would not have had it, right? Because you already have a CCTV camera, why do you again need a security guard? There's already alarm system there, but it's a requirement. Okay, with respect to employee, give awareness to the employee, do background check before hiring someone. I'm sure you might have submitted your documents to the HR, so we will also do a background check of yours. If you haven't done, if you are going to join us as an intern, then you will have to submit your documents to us, that HR will get back to you, and your background check will be done. Okay, so it's very important that background checks are done, offboarding are done. So these things is what the all the standards will tell. Okay, and because of this standards, a company is able to follow and have good security in place. All these are controls only. All the standards that are there, they talk about controls and nothing else. Okay, how to be safe, how to be secure, that's the basic agenda of these controls. Now if you look at the things here, there are a lot of things. Network is there, about policy also is there. So there is firewall, encryption, CCTV camera, alarms, background checks are done. So if you look at the domains in cybersecurity, cybersecurity is divided into two parts. At a very high level, cybersecurity has two parts. One is compliance. Okay, one is compliance or management. It's generally referred as compliance itself, and the other side is technical. Okay, so we have compliance and technical. In the compliance, there is standard implementation like ISO standard implementation. Okay, auditing is there, third party management is there, business continuity and disaster recovery is there. All right, in the technical, there is VAPT, web security, red team assessment, network security, networking, all this part of technical. So as a compliance person, you have to ensure that things are in place. You don't work with any VAPT tools and all. Like there is a requirement in ISO or PCI also. PCI says that for every 3 months, okay, for every 3 months, like Paytm, every 3 months Paytm has to do VAPT on their application. They have to do mandatorily, they can't miss it out. Okay, now The compliance guy ensures that VAPT is done. So he will not do the VAPT. At times he might also be required to do, but most of the time he will follow up with the VAPT guy and he will tell the VAPT guy to do the VAPT and give the report. The compliance guy will validate the report. Whatever issues are there, whatever vulnerabilities are found, he will further, if the vulnerability is with respect to the network, he will speak to the network team and he will ensure that the vulnerability is remediated. This is what a work of compliance guy in terms of at a high level. There's also auditing there. Okay, so these are the two things, the technical things. And if you look at our curriculum, we are going to cover the compliance side as well as technical side. Okay, and trust me, nowhere else you will get this type of curriculum to learn, that too from a company. Okay, as a company, institute, so forget, you will not get it. As a company, we know what is required. We know that there is a huge gap. We see that today all these certifications that are there, all the training that institutions are providing, they're not teaching what company requires. They are all teaching something which is which looks good from a marketing perspective and not useful from a career point of view. Okay, but here we are going to teach you something from a career point of view. All right, as a fresher, if you learn the compliance side as well as the technical side, then trust me, no one can stop you. And if you look at the curriculum also, like the module 1 is compliance, where we'll teach you about ISO, PCI, HIPAA, okay, SOX, SSA 16, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 audits, security auditing and testing, compliance management, risk management, cyber law, data privacy, GDPR. All these things we will teach you. Okay, I can bet you will not find something like this. And on the technical side, so this is compliance side. Okay, we will teach you. Our main focus will be on the technical, because you are hired here for red team assessment, right? So as a red team assessment, what you have to do, you have to basically find vulnerabilities. Okay, so on the technical side, if you look at the technical side, we will teach you about ethical hacking at a at a very high level. Linux environment we will teach you. Web application security and OWASP top 10 will teach you. More than that, there are nearly this is at just a minimum. Okay, 30 vulnerabilities. However, this will get increased to nearly 40 also. Okay, as of now we have around 35. In this there are only 30. Where if you look at the document, there should be around 33 or 35, but let's consider 30 vulnerability only. You will get to learn about 30 vulnerabilities, web application vulnerabilities, by getting into the internship with us. Okay, and with this, how will it works, we will teach you the vulnerability, how to find the vulnerability. We will not do spoon feeding again here. We will tell you theoretically what is the vulnerability, how that vulnerability works, and how do you identify that vulnerability, what is the impact of that vulnerability and remediation of that vulnerability. This is what we will teach you in a theoretical way. Okay, and we will give you a machine. We have our own, the Hackers Club machine, where you can practice, because directly we can't give you to work on real-time targets, right? You have to first practice. Okay, before taking your vehicle to the road, you will drive into your home or at some other place where there is no traffic or there is no vehicle movement, right? For that reason, we have the Hackers Club machine. That machine is configured with all these vulnerabilities. Okay, so when we teach you the theoretical way, you have to try it out practically by yourself on that machine first. If you're stuck at anywhere, you have your mentor, you have your reporting manager, you can contact them. Okay, once you are completely done, once you get to know about that vulnerability, you then try it out on the real time target that we will give you. Not just on the target that we will give you, you can also try this vulnerability on bug bounty as well. You can do bug bounty by taking this training, and we have no restrictions. You can work on bug bounty. You can do open bug hunting, private bug hunting. You can do apart from working on our targets as well. So there is lot of opportunity for you, and if you do bug hunting from there also, you will earn good amount of money. Okay, our interns who are there, they have earned good amount of money from bug hunting and from our targets that we have provided also. It's a different thing from targets that we provide. You have to do red team assessment. So when you're doing red team assessment is different from bug bounty. In red team assessment, and especially with the intern, you have to not just find and report, you have to also present it to the client also. Okay, I have told this before. So in bug bounty, you don't have that opportunity. You just tell it to the client, you just report it to the company, and they'll take it further. But here with us, there's a lot of process that is involved. So it takes a bit time to take the process and approach speak to the company and get it present it to them, and all that. But in case of bug bounty, you instantly get the money, you instantly get paid. So these are the vulnerabilities. If you're not sure these vulnerabilities, then this training is for you. We also cover network securities. Digital forensics is also covered. I'm sorry, the length is too much here, but it's not coming here. You can see in the document that digital forensic is also covered for you. Okay, so the overall training, if you see the overall training, it's just mind blowing. Okay, and again I'm saying, I can challenge you, you will not get this type of training content, training module anywhere. Who is You can verify, you can google for these things. Okay, you can check out for Naukri also. There also they would expect you to know the compliance side and risk management or ISO standard as well. Okay, and at the end of the training, you will not just learn 30 vulnerabilities. Okay, you will learn more than that. All right, you learn more than that. You implement that on real time, and you will not be a fresher. You would be a bug hunter, you would be a red team assessor after 6 months. Okay, so that's the level of training that we are going to provide you as part of the internship and training as well. All right, so going forward, let's understand the different types of organizations. Very important, because you are working on the cyber security. You'll work with different organizations. So let's understand the different organizations that are there. There are financial based organizations, also called as fintech. Like we have banks, Paytm, insurance companies. All these are they deal with financials. You have manufacturing companies, automobile companies. Manufacturing includes your dealing machinery. Okay, you have healthcare like hospitals. You have service based organizations are there, which can be CA based firms, lawyer based firms, IT firms like Infosys, Cisco, Wipro. We have e-commerce based companies are there like Flipkart, Amazon. Okay, the cyber security based companies like Cyber Sapiens, Ojas, and NII, and lot of other cyber security based companies are there. All these companies, financial companies, they deal with financial data or banking data. Security is must for them. Manufacturing units, again, it could be pharmaceutical companies, it could be any manufacturing companies. They need cyber security because they use technology. Healthcare, again, they need cyber security. IT companies, they need cyber security. E-commerce, again, very very important for them. If they don't have security, then they lose their business, just like how Yahoo lost their business. All right, so these are the companies that you will be working with. Okay, and when you're working with a client also, when a target is also given, please try to understand what type of company it is. That's the first thing. What type of data they deal with. Okay, try to understand that. Try to get the sense of the value of that data that they're dealing with. Okay, because as we have discussed, we implement controls. Okay, and the controls that are implemented, every control has a cost to it. Okay, we will discuss about this in the next few sessions. So these are the types of organizations. Okay, and next is to understand the different roles, security roles in an organizations. So the highest role in an in cyber security in an organization is called as CISO, which stands for Chief Information Security Officer. Okay, so if you really want to make cyber security as a career, keep a goal that tomorrow you will become CISO of a company. Okay, CISO is like CEO. We have CEO, we have CTO, Chief Technology Officer. Same way we have CISO. CISO again stands for Chief Information Security Officer. You need to become a CISO, you need to have the knowledge of the compliance side and the technical side both. With just technical side you can't become a CISO, because you will be working on the audit, compliance, policies, procedures. Okay, so you have to know both the side for it. So aim, make sure you get that aim right away, that tomorrow, after maybe 8 years or 10 years, because you need a minimum of experience for that, you will become CISO of a company. Okay, then there are different roles like analyst role, consultant role, engineer role, compliance specialist as a role, forensic expert, internal auditor or external auditor, SOC analyst. Okay, these are or lead ISO implementer. These are some of the roles that are there in organization. It all depends on what job you are doing. Okay, like in Infosys, my role was my designation was security engineer. Okay, and I was on the compliance side. I was doing auditing, I was doing standard implementation, control testing, all these things I was doing. My colleague was doing VAPT. His designation was also security engineer. Okay, so don't go with the designation, go with what platform you will be working, whether it is web application security, whether it is audit, that is where it depends on. Okay, you could be a consultant. As a consultant, you could be working on compliance side also, technical side also. So never go with the designation as such. Try to understand the roles and responsibilities. That's where you will get cleared about the things. Okay, so there are a lot of because there are a lot of departments, and there are a lot of teams that are there in the organization. Okay, like as I said, I was in the risk management team as a security engineer, and there was my colleague with the same designation but in the technical team or VAPT team, but our designation was same. Okay, so let's understand again, this is a very important, because you are in the start of the training. You are new to this cyber security. So it's very important to know what is there in the industry, and how things are there, so that you can prepare for it right away. All right, so there is this VAPT team. Their work is to do testing or VAPT. It depends on platform. Okay, so VA means identifying vulnerabilities, and PT means exploiting the vulnerabilities. It's all tool based, so you use tools like Nessus, OWASP, Accountics, or Burpsuit. These are the tools that will be used for you. Okay, we will teach you about the tools as well. So when we are teaching you with the vulnerability, definitely tools will also be covered. Okay, so VAPT is one of the team that their work is basically to do find vulnerabilities. Depends on platform. What it means is that you could be doing VAPT on web application, you could be doing VAPT on Android, on iOS, on server, or on IoT devices, anywhere. Okay, here in the training internship, you will be doing the assessment on web application security, and the vulnerabilities are also web application based vulnerabilities. Okay, so that's what means when I say platform dependent. There is a SOC monitoring team, a SOC monitoring where they have to monitor the network of every individual. Whatever the employees are doing, they have to monitor. If someone is trying to send any internal confidential document outside, then the SOC analyst will have to find it out. So this team is also called as blue team. Okay, and it is again tool dependent. The tools that are used are Splunk and QRadar. We will take session for you on SOC as well. There is audit team which does audits. It could be internal audit or external audit. Basically, in auditing, what happens is as an auditor, you check the control effectiveness of the control and the implementation of the control. Okay, like whether antivirus is installed or not, how do you validate that? All these things we will teach you in the training. You are going to get insight of the auditing as well. After this, after getting training on the audit part, you can try for IT audit position as well. Trust me, it's the best position that is there. In cybersecurity, you get lot of respect. Okay, you will be treated like god, and you will be respected a lot, and it's a very interesting thing also to do, because not using tools but using your own mind, using your own experience, you find loopholes. Okay, in auditing also you find loopholes, in VAPT also you find loopholes, but in VAPT you use tools, in auditing you use your brain, you use different strategies to do that. We will cover that in the audit training that will be given for you for IT audit. Governance is another department which drafts policies and procedures. Okay, they manage and maintain the team in a company. Again, very interesting role. We will cover this in about the policies also will be covered. How do you draft a policy? What is a policy, and which are the different policies that are there? These things will also be covered in the training. Again, you will not get this type of content anywhere. I'm repeatedly saying it. Risk management is another team which assess risk and manages the risk. They perform risk assessment. Risk assessment is again a type of testing method where you find the risk. Okay, you find the loophole, and then you give a you identify the risk for that. Okay, again, this is somewhat similar to IT audit, but there's a huge difference with IT auditing and risk management. Risk management will also be covered for you in the training, as I said. Okay, again, you will not get this risk management content anywhere else, especially as a fresher. Compliance will be is another team in cybersecurity. Compliance team ensures that the standards are maintained, and everything is in place, like CCTV cameras are properly installed, VAPT is being done, patch management is done, patches are updated, antivirus is installed in every system. So these things are checked by the compliance team. Okay, again, very important team in cybersecurity, and we have a session for you on compliance management as well. If you if you write in your resume, if you mention in your resume compliance management, risk management, your profile will get lot of weightage. The weightage will increase for you. Okay, and companies will start calling you, and they'll start taking interviews for you. All right. So forensic is another team, which does forensic investigation. I don't have to say much. Physical security also, there's a team in cyber, so a lot of big companies, they have their own team on physical security. Okay, to ensure that all the physical security aspects are being followed. Business continuity is again a domain in cybersecurity, which ensure that business is running all the time. Majorly availability factor is been taken care here, like in a place like Bangalore. Okay, if it rains for half an hour in Bangalore, the Bangalore will be flooded with water. Okay, and in such case, if employees are not able to come to the office, work will not happen, right? Business will not run. So there are certain things to follow to ensure that the business is running, and this is part of business continuity, which will be covered for you in the training session again. Okay, then we have incident management team, which handles incident, like if any cyber attack happens, what they should do, how they have will recover. So this is what is managed by incident management team. Third party risk management, again, outsourcing is very common in organizations. So when a company is outsourcing something, when a bank is outsourcing to a company, they have to ensure that that company has certain security in place. Like you own a car, and your friend or someone asks you your car for a day, will you give it to him just like that if the person is unknown or someone, or you just know the person? No, right? You will first ask him whether you know to drive, whether you have a license. You might also see whether he drives properly or not. So you will basically ensure that that guy is capable of handling your car properly. The same way, third party risk management is where companies ensure that whenever they are outsourcing something, they check their security controls. Okay, checking security controls here is not with VAPT, with compliance it is. Again, third party risk management is covered for you in the training. There is network security, again team in network security, which manages the firewall, IDS, IPS and all. So these are some of the teams in cyber security. Okay, there is also red team in cyber security, which we have not mentioned it here, but red team again is what you will be doing working with us. The same thing, red team means they have, like in Infosys there is a team like red team. Okay, and the job of the red team employees there, the red team assessors there, is that they have to find vulnerabilities every month or for certain duration. They have to find it. Okay, if they do not find, then they are fired out. So that's what red team people do. So that doesn't happen everywhere. Okay, because nowadays companies are hiring red team assessors, because when we say red team assessor compared to a VAPT guy, red team assessor is preferred more because they have the knowledge of manual assessment and not automated use of automated tools. VAPT guy, they use automated tools like Nessus, they run the tool, they get the report. But a red team assessor will mainly focus on manual assessment, and the quality of the testing is very good in red team assessment and very different. Okay, so when we are going to teach about vulnerability also, it's not using any automated tools, it's manual testing that we are going to teach you. Okay, again very unique. We will not give you any automated tools. Automated tools will be told to you at last, and we will not prefer you to use automated tools from the beginning itself. We will try to, and we will make sure that you use manually, and at the end of 6 months of internship you become very skilled in manually hunting. Because when you are applying for a job, when you tell the person that you can find 30 vulnerabilities, or you know to find 50 vulnerabilities manually, just like that, if you say it, then your job is fixed. All right, and yeah, that's all in this particular session. Thank you. We will meet in the next session. You can watch the next session after this. Okay, which is on different topics we have. By the end of these video sessions that are given for you, we want to ensure that you get knowledge to a certain level. So when we start with your internship, we will directly start with vulnerability training only on those 30 vulnerabilities. Okay, so we are not wasting our time. During the time when we are doing your background checks and onboarding process, you please watch the complete video, uh, do the task as well. Okay, so by the time we start, you are ready for the hunting part. Okay.